This is the story about the three Bears broadcasters, Dixon, Allers, and Alvarez. Dixon? Well, I'm pretty sure he's the boss because he has the biggest title.
Director of broadcast. Yeah.
Jason Dixon takes the first face-off, meaning he's the host of the pre-game show, which means he's the first guy in the office.
I try to devote about an hour in the morning right when I get into some of the clerical stuff that has to be done, and then probably about 3:30 in the afternoon until game time, pretty much devoted to writing the pre-game show, looking for news, that kind of stuff.
If this trio was the ingredients to a sandwich, John Allers would be the meat, a cured ham, a nice prosciutto with 13 years of seasoning.
Playing the game on the ponds, I was always into it. Then I got to watch it as an organized sport at a young age, and then I followed it, listened to it, and it came pretty naturally. It was actually the first opportunity I had to do with any significant play-by-play, ironically, as well.
John broadcasts the games on the radio with Hall of Famer Phil Esposito. But because John does most of the talking, we hear him more. John also spends hours preparing for each game because that's the only way he'll reach his goal.
Well, the thing I try to do night in, night out, I think, is inform the fans about the individuals, about the players, whether it be on a personal level or what they're doing as hockey players.
If this trio was a line and Jason was the right wing and John was the center, I would be the water boy, the new guy to the game. I host the fourth period show. What I like about it is not only does it enable me to learn a little bit more about the game of hockey, but I get close contact with the coaches and the players, and they've been able to explain to me a lot about the game. Like any team, to be successful, we have to work together. It also helps if your players are one big family, one that gets along and has the utmost respect for each other.
I remember Outback was one of them, and they would be kind enough to bring us something, a sample, something from their concession stand to eat. The hardest thing about that was ever being able to intelligently talk about those samples, because if you follow Jason, there was nothing left.
By the way he looks, I'd have to believe he eats a lot, so it'll probably be a while till I invite him to lunch.
John's a pro. He came in under some tough situations, had some big shoes to fill, and he works hard. I mean, that's he's where I spend about 10% of the day on the actual broadcast, he spends 99%.
When I think of Allers, I think of the hair, and I wish I had his hair. It's always perfect, never a hair out of place. The guy's got perfect hair.
Jason talked for a while about how everybody in the world that he knew in broadcasting called him for that job when it became available. And I think he gave it to the one guy that didn't have his number, and that was Bob. And then Jason didn't tell me that Bob had the job for a couple of weeks, and I would just promote the show, but I didn't know who was actually doing the show.
He thought after they skated around that they got scores from judges. And once we explained that to him, that no, they try to put the puck in the net, he's actually just stepped in and done a great job.
Well, the boss likes what I'm doing. That's a good thing. Really, I'm just, well, if the broadcast was a loaf of bread, I'm a small piece on the end. Jason and John are the loaf. I didn't say they loaf. Really, we're just working toward a common goal.
Try to cover all the bases and get the team as much exposure as we can.
We hope you'll tune us in for our next broadcast. If so,
thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.